May I also request Sam Mova to come over here and introduce our Rotary International Director, A.S. Venkatesh.
Oscar, I can't do anything better than that, but let me do the job. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Venkatesh, you know, those of you who have daughters to get married, you know, when you look for the academic qualifications in this country, you know, one of the things that come first to your mind is, you know, is this fellow somebody from IIT, right? Yeah. And then if he goes on to IIM, you know, you are all the more eager, right? Now, our director has graduated from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Chennai, and Indian Institute of Management, MBA from Ahmedabad. He entered the business of civil construction at the very young age of 23 and is one of the leading builders of Chennai city, employing more than 1,400 people. A member of Rotary Club of Chennai, Mambalam, he was its president during 2001 and 2, and unsurprisingly, he went on to become the youngest governor of that very prestigious district. Venky has been an international trainer at San Diego for 2 times, and very importantly, he has also been the lead facilitator for the institute that trains all the Rotary coordinators through RRFCs and RPICs in Evanston for a consecutive term of 3 years, which is unprecedented as far as Indian leaders go. Venky is a level 3 major donor, and he has represented 3030, which is his district at the Council on Legislation. And he is serving in the 2nd year on the board of Rotary International this year. And my dear friends, now very few directors go on to assume the charge of the finances of Rotary International. Our director, A.S. Venkatesh, is currently the treasurer of Rotary International. Venky is a keen bridge player. Sometimes I really wonder, no, he probably loves bridge more than Vinita and Rotary put together. And Venky, very few of you know, is also an accomplished dramatist. He loves drama. Hardly he gets any time to do that these days, but that's what he is. But those of you who have not known, who have not heard this man, let me assure you, you are in for a thrilling session. And let me just say this before we get Venky onto the stage. The clout of this director, the prestige of this man is manifest in 2 things. Whenever Jennifer Jones gets into some trouble somewhere, the first troubleshooter that comes to her mind is her batchmate governor, Venkatesh, and now her treasurer. And recently I was congratulating Drew Kessler, who is going to be our treasurer during Garden McKinley's year. And when I congratulated him, he said something so simple, but yet so profound. He said, Sam, I have big shoes to fill. Ladies and gentlemen, A.S. Venkatesh, Director of Rotary International.
Before Venky starts, I have a small announcement to make. I want all the past RI officers to stay in, because during Venky's presence, we are going to give away the Lifetime Achievement Award to our past RI officer, 1992-93 District Governor, Rotarian KVS Anjaneyya Murthy. Please stay on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, namaskaram. Good afternoon. All right. I thought Bhaskar Ram was my friend till I saw him placing my session after Akella Raghavendra Garu's speech. I mean, I don't think Bhaskar is my friend anymore. Nobody can come anywhere close to the kind of such a wonderful oration speech that we heard. Please give a big round of applause to Akella Raghavendra once more. I mean, even somebody like me who has only a smattering understanding of Telugu still managed to enjoy it thoroughly. The entire session was so engaging and so captivating. Now I need to go and brush up my Telugu a lot more soon, so that next time I listen to you, I'll be able to understand it even more better than what I did today. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful having you and listening to you. Thank you. Let me also thank my good friend Samuva for those generous words of introduction. And this is my first visit to Rajahmundry. I've been to 30-20 in the past, but never to Rajahmundry. I've been to Vizag, I've been to Vijayawada, I've been to Bhimavaram, all kinds of different places, but first visit to Rajahmundry. And let me confess something, honestly. When we were growing up, I was studying in a school that was run by a Telugu trust. So there were a lot of Telugu in my school. In fact, we even had a Telugu medium branch. I was in English medium, but there was a Telugu medium branch. That is the kind of school I was brought up in, studied in. And the only thing I knew about Rajahmundry, don't laugh now, but only thing, honestly, I'm being very frank about it. Only thing I knew about Rajahmundry was that's a place Jayaprada and Sri Devi came from. I don't know whether it's true or not, but my friends used to tell me, Rajahmundry, Jayaprada. But now, of course, I know a lot more about Rajahmundry now and a lot more things that I'm happy to know about. And today, thanks to Tiku, who took the trouble to pick, is Tiku there? Thank you, Tiku, for all the trouble you took to come early in the morning to pick me up from the airport and brief me about Rajahmundry and the district and a lot of things. Thank you. I really value your friendship, Tiku. Thank you. Today, Governor Bhaskar has asked me to share my thoughts on DEI. Of course, I heard Sharat, President Secretary Sharat, past Governor Sharat, talk about DEI in a little bit of it. I don't have enough knowledge or enough experience to tell you what to do, but I can certainly share my thoughts, I can certainly share my ideas. Whatever is relevant, you can pick it up from there. But let's look at it in context. Rotary, all of us know, started with the principle of vocational diversity, classification principle. But then, why has it taken 118 years to come to the front burner? If that is the principle with which we started, that should have been in the forefront all the time, all the 118 years. But why are we talking about it after 118 years now in such a vigorous manner? So to understand the context, it all became a significant matter after America was hit by this Black Lives Matter issue. Black Lives Matter was the trigger for everybody to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But that is in the US. Nevertheless, what is relevant in different communities will be different. May not be the Black lives that affects America. We don't have that issue possibly. Maybe in Japan, it could be the age diversity that may be of concern, because the average age of Japanese Rotarian is 84, or maybe 84 and a half, somewhere there. That's where the average age of Japanese Rotarian is. Average age of Rotarians in UK is 76. So maybe they may be really worrying about age diversity, bringing in younger members. What is relevant to our community, our country, our region, and our districts? Let's look at that. Not everything that everybody is talking about may be relevant to us, but there are certain things that may be more relevant to us than for the other regions. Gender diversity, of course, is top of mind for everybody. But I have certain very, very different views on those. Over the years, the global percentage of women Rotarian is about, today it stands about 26%, and India is about 16%. Not bad for the cultural milieu that we operate in, it's not too bad. But the issue is, a lot of it is actually window dressing. 16% of women Rotarians that we talk about constitute maybe about 6% of people, men Rotarians, who have added their spouses to make up the numbers. We all know that. Those are not really bringing in diversity, it's bringing in numbers, it's window dressing. As an auditor like Bhaskaram would probably know window dressing, what it means. You know, it is to the rest of the world, but not what it should mean to us. Second aspect is, we have a lot of women-only Rotary clubs today. I don't know how many 30, 20 has. Are there any ladies-only clubs here? None. But several districts today have, Sharat, do you have in your district? How many? 4. My district has 4. Every district in our country has about 2, 3 roughly. All women Rotary clubs. Now you may ask me what's wrong with it. Maybe it's a good way to get in women Rotarians. But then, in a sense, this is a disservice to the cause of women Rotarians, because Rotary career, how many of them can ever become district governors? How many of them can become assistant governors? How many of them can become, let's say, even conference chair or district avenue chairs? Raji, I know, from 3150, or Chaya from 3020. I do know the names. But let me tell you, does it really reflect the... yes, Ravi? All-woman club. Now, let's understand. The fact remains, friends, I want you to listen to this because this is something that I want you to take back to your clubs. The fact remains that a career or a growth in Rotary starts only from the time you become a club president. Be it a district, anything starts from being a club president. The moment you become a past president, you can become a district official, you can become an AG or a DG or a director or even a president. But everything starts with becoming a club president. Let's say a district has 400 women Rotarians in 10 clubs of 40 members each, approximately. At the most, these 10 clubs can produce only 10 past presidents every year. That means 400 people can produce only 10 past presidents. If these 400 members were there in, let's say, 40 clubs of 10 members each, there is a possibility that could be 20 of them could be presidents in a year. So more number of past presidents is what gives you the choice of having more people in your district as district officials. AGs, conference chair, event chairs, whatever, assembly chair, PETS chair, and then go on to become governors. So if we really care about or mean seriously and sincerely about this diversity, gender diversity in our districts, I would want each one of the clubs to add at least 20% of women Rotarians in your club, not form all women club. That's not going to help their cause. That only maybe give you the numbers, give you the percentages, but that's not going to help in the long run. I vividly recall President Jennifer's statement at Houston. Very, very powerful statement she made. In passing, of course, it didn't appear to be powerful when it was said, but when more you think about it, she said, it's not important to be the first woman president of Rotary International. It becomes important only when there's a second and when there's a third. Only if this leads to subsequent such actions does it become significant. If you are the only one, it's not important. That's a very powerful statement, which means you need to be able to provide an environment, provide an ambience, provide a system, provide the logics to ensure that we have more past presidents of Rotary clubs who are women. If we really want gender diversity, that's the way forward, not just having number of members. That's not going to help. We are never going to have the kind of percentages in leadership roles. We might have in numbers, overall membership, I'm sure in the next 2-3 years we might reach 23%, 24%. But how many of them will go on to become leaders? How many of them will have the opportunity to be leaders? That is something that I want you to think about. Give it a thought. Let's broad base this women membership. We really mean diversity in its truest sense and sincere about it. Let us broad base this membership of women across all our clubs. Only then can we do justice. Two, let me tell you a very interesting incident that happened in my house. During this COVID, of course, during the lockdown period, no maids, no cooks, nothing. It was just me and my wife at home for a 3-month period during this lockdown. So I'm a little ashamed about it now, but then let me tell you honestly, I've never picked up my plate after eating. I have my food, I just walk out of the table, the maid comes, picks up the plate and goes and gets it washed. Of course, during COVID, there was no maid, no cook, nothing. So I started picking up my plate and I was very thrilled, I was very proud of it. So I told my wife one day, this actually happened. I told my wife one day, I said, see, equality is in my blood. See, I'm picking up my own plate. I respect you, whatever. I was very thrilled with myself. And she looked up at me and said, that's a normal thing to do. If you really mean what you say, next time pick up my plate also. Only then you mean. That hit me hard. Because doing something that's normal, we think we are doing a great job. We need to go beyond that. When she said it in a very joking fashion, but then the fact remains, yes, all these years I have not picked up. Today I am picking up my own plate. Why am I feeling good about it? Why am I feeling great about it? There's nothing big deal. No big deal about this. But if I had started picking up her plate also after that, then that means we are really mean this inclusive and equity that we are talking about. That's when we are really, we mean it. So a lot of things have to do with our mindset. A lot of things will have to change at our thinking process. I go to Rotary functions. Of course, there will be a felicitation, somebody brings the shawl. So I asked in one district, I don't want to name the district, I went as chief guest for one of their functions a few months ago. I asked casually, I asked the governor, I said, are there any women involved in this organizing team? The chairman was obviously a male. I mean, I didn't see a lady there. I said, are you including women in your organizing team for this function? He said, of course, sir, we believe in DEI. Now, DEI is a buzzword. Everybody uses that word DEI. I said, of course, that DEI, sir. Jennifer has said DEI, we are using DEI. We are using a lot of women in all our committees are women. I said, where are the women? I don't see. The committee members were all men. Sir, when you walked in the corridor, I said, yes. Did you see those ladies behind the counter giving rose flowers? Those are all committee members. When you walked in, when you were at the stage, there was a person who brought a tray with the shawl. One lady, those are committee members. I got really annoyed. I said, next time, I want to see a man carrying the tray with the shawl and a lady announcing it, rather than a man announcing a lady carrying a tray. These gender-specific roles that we have got used to, our mindset has got to change. When we talk about DEI, as I keep saying, it's about our mindset. It's not about this show that we make of including a 20-member committee will have 8 women. What is the role given to that woman? Is it carrying the shawl and the flowers? Let the men carry the shawl and the flowers. I'm sure the men here, can you carry the tray? Will you carry the tray? See, they are ready, they are eager, they are not been given the chance to do so. They really want to show their capacity and ability in carrying those trays. Let's change that mindset of what roles are gender specific. Trust me when I tell you this, every woman can do this, everything that a man can do, sometimes better than a man can do. Every woman can do it. It is just that we have not got used to it in our head. We don't understand, we don't believe, I wouldn't even say we don't believe. We don't even give it a thought. We don't even consider that as a possibility. It's a natural thing not to include them. It's a very normal thing because that's the default option. In technology terms, that's the default option. See, I come from a family, I have 2 daughters. So for the last more than 2 decades, there have been only women in my house. My wife and 2 daughters. There is not a single male in my house for the last several years and several decades now. And I get to first-hand experience the frustrations in today's world of a lady, of how their opportunities are not being provided. It's not about capability, it's not about skill sets, it's not about talent, it's not about knowledge, it's not about ability, it's about opportunities. When we talk about DEI, it's not about window dressing or numbers. That's not going to make a difference. It's about actually changing our attitude, changing our mindset, and doing what is not normally done, but doing what should be done. That is where we talk about DEI, that's where we talk about it. I remember last year when I had to, when I was the convener for the Rotary Institute, I consciously wanted to include as many women PDGs as possible in our committees and give them significant roles. I could find only a handful in the entire country who were still active. Handful, literally I could count on my hands. Out of 900 past governors in India, 900 past governors, I could just count on my hands. It really hit me that we are not providing the opportunities, we are not providing the platform, we are not providing the scope for them to really demonstrate to the world that yes, we are capable. Now that's about diversity. What is this inclusion? Let me elaborate on the same point. You have let's say 30% women in your clubs, and you have a weekly meeting starting at 9 p.m., many of them may not even show up. That's a cultural milieu. It's not because they can't handle the position. It's because you have made your system inconvenient to several of the participants. It's like having a meeting in the first floor and without a lift, expecting a disabled person to come there. You can say, oh, we have got a meeting, he has to come or she has to come. That's not being inclusive. Are you making your club meetings convenient enough for everybody to attend? Find out what is convenient. Maybe it may be worthwhile. All these years we have done whatever we wanted to do. For a change, let's do what others want. Let's understand what would make them comfortable to attend. What will make them easier to be a part of it and play a significant role. Let's understand what can be done. So that is inclusion. Make the platform even a level playing field so that everybody can participate. Everybody can play a role. That is inclusion. It's not about putting somebody's name in the list and say, oh, he or she is a part of it. That is not inclusion. Whether it's diversity, whether it's equity or inclusion, all these things boil down to changing our attitude from what we have been practicing all these years. Why should we even worry about, let's come to this basic question. Why should we even worry about diversity? Why should we worry about inclusion? If your club does not reflect the composition of the community and the society, you are missing out on a huge chunk of your community's abilities to contribute to Rotary. The loser is not those people who have been kept out. The loser is Rotary and your club. How long can you keep them away and expect Rotary to grow? Or be it youngsters, be it, let's say, the Rotaractors who are now coming into Rotary. How many of you have the guts and the courage to offer them club president roles? Or will you tell them, wait in the queue, there are at least 15 others before you? Do you have the guts? When will you get a different view if you are not willing to appoint a different person to the role? You do the same thing. I remember in a club assembly, one of the presidents said, when I was several years back when I was governor, he said, I wanted to do all these things. I said, why didn't you do? My past president said they have already tried it and it did not work, so they did not want me to try. Is there anybody who faces that problem in your club? That your past president don't let you do what you want to do? Yes or no? Okay. Now, because I didn't want you to raise your hand, because then your past president will notice that who has raised your hand. When you have to say yes in a group, everybody will say, if I ask you to raise your hand, no, sir. See, this is the conditioning that we have taken our clubs to. This is the conditioning, that it has been done this way, so it has to continue this way. As Shivkera very famously said, if you continue to do the same thing, you'll continue to get the same results. If you want different results, do something different. We have to remember that if you want different results, we need to do something different. So the youngsters, it's not about, again, like gender diversity, age diversity. It's not about adding them to your club. It's about giving them a role. It's about giving them leadership positions. Rotary is all about leadership. We often say very, very proudly, Rotary consists of leaders of our various vocations, blah, 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 blah. Are you really getting the leadership out of these members? Their leadership capabilities out of these members. Rotary can be much stronger, much more meaningful, engaging opportunity if only our systems change to provide opportunities to those who otherwise would not get those opportunities, be it women, be it youngsters. So now whenever these youngsters ask me, sir, I'm not getting the chance, I say, start a new club. Don't join this old man's club. Don't join the old man's club. So my one governor, when he heard me, says, sir, what will happen to those clubs? I said, they'll die a natural death. Over a period of time, they'll die. That's okay. If we are not willing to change, let's not bring a few more productive people into the club and then let them also rot and decay with that decaying thoughts. So if we don't want to decay, we don't want to lose relevance, we need to really change a lot of things, my friends. I mean, I may be sounding very harsh on this, but that is the truth. Indian Rotary has got to really change their basic fundamental thinking of who forms a Rotary club, who is a Rotarian in our country. We need to change. We need to get some fresh ideas. We need to get some out-of-the-box thinking. There's so much of potential which is lying untapped. I heard Mohan talking about foundation. What is the percentage of Rotarians who have contributed? Mohan, you said? Yeah, 30-20. How many? 10%. When you heard this, how many of you felt that you should go and contribute tomorrow or today? He said 10% of Rotarians have contributed so far. You heard, all of you heard. I also heard, all of you heard. How many of you felt that you have to contribute today? Be truthful about it. Or you just listen to it saying, oh, 10%, good. So I've got one statistic. Next time I'll tell somebody it's 10%. Or does it mean something to you individually? Does it mean something to you individually? It should. Why is he giving those big statistics? Why is he giving those data? I'm sure Mohan could have spent the time better if he realized that nobody is going to act on these slides. That is because we have got conditioned. We have never given to foundation, we'll continue not to give to foundation. That is what is happening on several of our Rotary activities. Continue to do the same thing. If you look at the kind of activities that the district does, whatever the last year, whatever events were, the same events will continue. The same kind of profile, same kind of people, same kind of activities. It's too boring. I tell you, I asked my daughter, she's working in San Francisco. I was there 10 days back after my International Assembly. I went to see my daughter in San Francisco. She's earning quite well. She's, in my opinion, she's capable or should be in Rotary in San Francisco. So I contacted my counterpart, the director, Vicky. Vicky in turn put me onto the governor of that region where she lives. She lives in Redwood City. So governor of that region. So I contacted that governor. And then I came to Varsha, my daughter. I said, Varsha, she knows a lot about Rotary because she was, she was in school when I was a governor. So she has been exposed enough to Rotary. So I said, Varsha, why don't you join Rotary in your area? You might get a network of people, get to meet people from different countries or different nationalities in your area. You might expand your friends network. She said, Rotary is too boring, pa. I'm being very honest about it. I mean, I feel ashamed to admit as a Rotary director to say that my daughter feels Rotary is boring. I said, it's too boring, pa. I said, what is boring about it? She said, it's old people, I've come to some of your meetings, they talk the same thing, time and again, the same thing. And I said, all they do is praise each other, pa. Why should I come and watch that? And she said this, I don't know, it really hit me hard. She said, Rotary meeting, they come and praise each other. One Rotarian will praise other Rotarian will praise this one. Whole meeting, you want me to sit and watch that? I have better things to do with my time. So how am I going to bring this girl into Rotary? Unless I change. Unless each one of us decides to change. This change is imperative. It has to start at a club level. It's not Rotary International that has to change. Last year, my Rotary Board of Directors had 9 out of 19 were women. It's not about Rotary International. In US, 26% of the district governors are women. So it's not about America. It's about us. And it starts with our club. Each one of our clubs will have to take this mantra back and say, what am I going to do in my club? It's not about the district. What can Bhaskar Ram do unless the clubs do? So all comes back to our clubs. Let's now decide that this diversity and equity and inclusion, that has become a buzzword today. Let us make sure it percolates to every club. Let each one of you decide what is appropriate for your club. I'm not going to tell you what is appropriate for your club. It's up to you to decide. What am I going to do with my club to change this perception of a club which is not very inclusive, which does not provide an equal platform, which does not provide equal opportunities. Whether we like it or not, that is where it stays today. That's where it stays today. Let's change that, my friends. We have the chance to make a difference. We have the chance to imagine something that has never been done before in the past in our districts and the clubs. We have an opportunity to really do something significant. Sharat was talking about what Rotary will be in 10 years' time or in the future. And he was quoting Paul Harris, who had said something long back, but Paul Harris also had said, he said, I don't know what Rotary will be in the future, but I do know that what Rotary is in the future will depend on what we do in the present. It will depend on what we do in the present. That's Paul Harris's quote unquote. So if we want to see a Rotary in the future which is fair, equitable, and fully reflective of the communities that we live in, we need to act today, not in the future. We need to act today and make sure each one of our clubs, it is back to the clubs, let each one of our clubs reflect the full diversity of our community that we operate in. It could be age, it could be gender, it could be physical abilities, it could be vocational, it could be sexual preference, it could be anything. Remember that each one's choice or ability is their own. You and I have no say on what they have, but we have a choice of adding them to our midst. We have a choice of making sure Rotary is reflective of our community. Good luck and God bless.
Very much, sir, for your wonderful presentation and making us understand the importance of women. And sir, here we request DG, our District Governor Bhaskaram sir, as well as the chairperson of the District Conference Committee, Shri Hota Rajagaru, to recognize and honor the dignitary. The Rotary International Director, Rotarian A.S. Venkatesh Garu. So the legacy is has changed, and now we have the man walking and carrying everything to you, as you told. So the change has started, sir. And definitely we'll take your words.